Alright, so in this one we are going to be doing my final Dragon Ball Legends top 10 tier list before part 2 begins. We seen this last time, in the last celebration with Blue UI and Evo, and then before part 2, we had Rev UI get his Zenkai, we have Ultra Hit get his Plat, and Ultra Hit was a phenomenal Plat, probably second to none to Ultra UI in how much he shifted the meta. Essentially, it was just hit sniping everything, and if you didn't have Rev UI Zenkai, which Rev UI was only coped because he had Revive and no one else was having Revival, again, this was before part 2, that 1 week span, where we are right now, before part 2, it was just dominating the game with Blue UI, and that was like Blue UI number 1, hit number 2, everything else didn't matter. That's just how the game was at that time. And Ultra UI has made a similar vein of impact, in my opinion, here. Maybe it'll change in part 2. Maybe he stays this top tier dominance. We don't know. We will see. We definitely didn't expect Hit's fall off to be as fast as it was, because Hit was not used after that 1 week. He literally just never got used. It's just Kaioken didn't care. Here's a revival within Vegeta, didn't care. Might happen to UI, might not. But top 10, gonna start at the bottom here with it being a tied tier. I really can't separate these two, so I just put them in the same thing, with it being Blue UI as 10B and Red Namek as 10A, because I couldn't really figure out which one is better at their role specifically. Blue UI, I'm not gonna say it gains crazy value, it's just that running a double UI team is so much of a nuisance, you know, yellow, blue, or with Super Gogeta, or with whoever. CMZ, MZ, because God Key, it's just such a nuisance duo that coexists in this game, and I feel like the acknowledgement of it, because yes, while it is not the strongest units ever, clearly, it still is, to a degree, how much it annoys you and how much it can just be effective and how much it pisses you off will make you misplay and make you lose, because they really don't have to do anything. They're auto-attacking here, auto-dodging here. Here's, you know, MZ doing his great burst. Here's Namek Goku giving the safety with AoE green cards. Like, it's just a nuisance trio slash duoship that can exist within these two of both UIs and then whatever they're at that point. So I think he has to at least make the list. I think not putting him here would kind of be an insult to the character, though I hate the character. It's an insult to the character. And then Red Namek still has very good value within his damage. That's all he is, though. Not to say that's bad or good. It's just, if you don't have that much utility, you can't be as high as you want to be, right? The higher utility and the more damage, obviously the higher you'd be. That's why UI, he's going to be very high in this list, because he has really good damage and really good utility. And that's kind of where it just grows and grows and grows on this list until you're like a full-on support unit. And then it's like, okay, how do you fit into that threshold? So Red Namek, definitely still good, just a sub option. All right, if you're going to run 18, you're probably going to run, you know, using Super Gogeta first. You might even run Blue UI first. It doesn't, you know, doesn't really make a difference between the two. But Red Namek has better damage afflicted. Decent disrupt that, minus 15 key every card he takes is alright. It's nothing crazy, but, you know, it does more than some other units actually in the top tiers here. So he's an okay unit, and nothing too, you know, off about him, I guess you could say. He just exists, and I like him. I'm glad he's good. I mean, it's a free-to-play unit in top 10, right? I can't dismiss that. I like that as a whole premise itself. But then we move on. The lower tiers really don't matter. They always really don't matter, but they really don't matter here as well. Move on to Mr. Number 9, with it being Ultra Full Power Frieza. Now you're going to see the next character, which is, well, next few characters, which is the newer characters of the game, because these are a little bit old. The hits some of them have taken have kind of bumped this guy up. And think about it logically, right? We have 1 yellow here of Ultra UI. We have 2 yellow here of Ultra Namek. We have 3 yellow here of Janemba. Bare minimum 3 yellows. You could easily have maybe a copium of Kidku and Puddle, whatever else. But there's bare minimum 3 yellows. So who do you think on this list, you know, Mr. Purple Boy here, is going to get impacted? Yeah, so CMC is going to get worse off, then the green unit would get better off. That's just the simplest math that I can make of it. The only reason Frieza is above these two is because a nuisance he can be. They're all sub-options to their teams, right? So let's say you're going to run Ultra UI, you want to like try to force Frieza, or UV4 and try to force Frieza, or Super Vegeta to try to force Frieza. You can do these things. It's just going to make the team a little bit more inferior than not, compared to when you run Ultra UI and Super Vegeta, or Ultra UI and UV4. But it's a nuisance sub-option that can kind of deal with UI to a degree. You know, you have the beams, you could stall for blast cards at that point. You can go into UV4 and stall for him. You can go into Super Vegeta, stall the green cards for him. You have an okay disrupt, actually pretty good disrupt within Frieza. Safety mechanics within Frieza as well. Clearly Super Vegeta can kind of deal with that, but still safety that does coexist in this game. So I think there is a little bit more merit to Frieza than it's ever been in the recent months, because Frieza is, you know, barely making top 10s or barely off top 10s in more recent times. So With the purple going down, that was checking him clearly by just being such a good damage dealer, and still is a good damage dealer, CMZ. It's just, there's so many yellows, CMZ has to take a hit. It's objectively a truth at this point. Like, I didn't think he was going to take such a significant hit from UI because, but the teams you're running for UI is, again, everything revolves around UI right now. The game, it revolves around Ultra UI. What are you trying to run right now? Ultra UI is his best team, right? Or you're trying to counter Ultra UI. You're not trying to counter Super Vegeta. You're not trying to counter Namek Goku. You're not trying to counter Janemba, UV4. You're not trying to counter any of them. You're running Ultra UI and then counters to Ultra UI. That's your teams right now. So everything around that premise is where tier lists are created. That's just the simplest way forward for me. So Frieza gets to be number 9 there. Before we get to number 8, let me take a little swig here. At number 8 would be, unfortunately, I love Janemba. Funny enough, I started growing respect for this character. I even summoned for him more. Pulled 2 copies, 8 stars now. I love that for me. But I can't bump him higher. Everybody else above him here just is so much more valid to be higher than him. Well, I do think he's very good, and I did think before his UI plat that Super Vegeta and Janemba were not too far off. Now there's a gap, bro. Because what it is that he's just a sub option now. He's always been like kind of maybe sub option, but now he's just guaranteed. Like, what reason do you have to run Janemba Gogeta, which doesn't even really work that well, opposed to UI Gogeta? Again, the game revolves around UI, so you have to talk about UI, which is what it is. He can't do his cards half the time. Dash forward blue, dash forward green, dash forward strike, obviously. He can't land his fucking cards against UI, which is a problem. I mean, even these bottom tiers here, the 10s, they have that same issue. Frieza even has similar issue within his blue and green, but still, again, the beams kind of make up for that issue. So you can't even use Janemba's cards half the time. While he is still very good, and his burst damage is crazy, and his, play style gap, whatever the fuck that really means, the way you play him is still a bit different. He still is very effective. I still think, when you look at this tier list, you're looking, okay, 9, 10A, 10B. The 9, 10A, 10B are kind of just like the whatevers, right? They're here, but like they don't really matter. I think 8 and above start to matter. More matter to like meta dominance is going to be the top 4, maybe top 5 if we're going to be generous, most likely at least. So he's still very good. It just is an unfortunate setting where this is a guy that dodges blue card, green cards, and strikes. Well, I can't do anything when I'm Janemba then. Like, what do? I'm just going to swap to my red MZ if I'm running Janemba, and then here's my blue card with that red MZ. I'll use it with him, because I can't use it with Janemba. So, as much as I want to put him higher, because I really do think he's a very good unit, and definitely underappreciated, not underrated, but underappreciated, especially because people use him like dog piss. He can't go higher, though. It's just not active. It's just not actively true. Maybe it becomes true. Again, this is right before part 2. I guarantee you this list changes a 180 that's been shit. Look at from beginning part 1 to where we are now. I guarantee you the list changed for a very good degree, right? And Ultra UI made that big change, so it only takes 1 unit buff. 1 unit to make a list almost flip-flop. It's not a full 180 this list, but it's like a cool, like, 75, 90 degree turn. Like, a lot of shit's changed here. Because Janemba would have been, or was rather, in this like 5-6 for a lot of people with Namek Goku, and now Namek Goku's gonna be much higher than Janemba, I'll tell you that. But we get to number 7 as well, and we see what I was talking about with CMZ taking a hit. I mean, UI, while he does have the situation where, he does not care about lock-ins, CMZ, he kind of has a deterrence to lock-ins, right? He seals all the cards and everything, so you make UI force through his switch thing. That's great. Well, then the issue then becomes now you have no safety with CMZ, so you're gonna make that proc frame 0 of the game, and you're gonna hit UI. He's gonna heal it all off. He doesn't give a fuck, especially with green cards. You're gonna make that proc early game, that switch thing, and now your CMZ has no safety. Now you're running CMZ, MZ, 13, or CMZ, MZ, and Super Vegeta, which already has no safety. There's no endurance there. And now you have 0 safety guaranteed on that one. With 13, UI can just 2-card him. Super Gogeta can just 2-card him. Like, 13's not a tank. Obviously, we're not going to bolster that character up to the moon. So, with that, if we're going to lose our safety that easy, we're going to lose our merit to survive anything within a big move that easy. Like, how can I put him higher than this? I can't do anything about that. Janemba still can destroy this guy. You have Namek Goku who can still do his lock-in things, because things are like this. CMZ only does that lock-in ante twice. Okay, waste 1 with UI, waste 1 with Namek. Okay, Namek's going to keep respawning these lock-ins. That third one happens, strike blue, strike ult, whatever you want to do at that point. Triple strikes, 3 blast, 4 blast cards. What does CMZ do? You already wasted his mechanic because Ultra UI. You're going to run Ultra UI with Namek Goku a lot of times, so you're going to have that duo lock-in shit. How the fuck can CMZ deal with that? That's just not a thing that exists. So CMZ takes a significant hit. I do expect, to be fair, I'm not saying this will last long, but at least I don't think so. I do expect a red unit to drop within the next banner, I guess LF banners that we're getting on the 10th, because how they like to do things, not always, but they like this premise of full color wheel for the premium units. So we got yellow green. Well, here comes red purple, because the blue ultra makes sense because our last blue ultra was fucking Turles, and Turles is a ways a bit old. So red purple would make sense. Red obviously buffing MZ back up, and purple giving maybe more stock to the yellows that aren't as ideal but still decent enough, and hurting green units because there is a little bit of green on this list. You can see there's one here that's obviously not placed yet. So CMZ stock down. Again, I could see it very easily resurging, even if the red unit is individually not better than red MZ. He's still going to be very top tier, and maybe utility wise he'll have more going on and more safety going on, and CMZ doesn't have to play the fiddle of the safety and damage role that he offers, because he does offer safety, obviously. He doesn't have to play that role. He can just play a more greedy role and maybe get better off within that. It doesn't really need a Red MZ partnership to be as good as he is, because that is what's saving CMZ from being a lot lower. If Red MZ wasn't in the game right now, just theoretical, he would not be anywhere above 9 CMZ for me. He might not even be top 10, frankly. There'd be really no place to put him. Like, where are you going to run him with? Red Namek? Okay, run him there. I'm not going to run him UE4. It doesn't make any sense. Just UE4 is better subs within other stuff, and you don't need him that badly. You don't need CMZ that badly in this game right now. But that's where he goes. Big hit for the character. And we move on to number 6 here, which is Android 13. Now, this I need to explain heavily. I know, I can't. Android 13 goes down because I think his necessity has fallen to a little bit of wayside. Again, it is just for this meta right now. It's kind of like a Rev UI thing where I believe in part 1 of 7th anniversary, it was Keanu Khalifa being run a lot more than anybody else as the 1%, right? Kava be a little bit of usage there, but it was MUI, then Keanu Khalifa, again, usage, and that duo ship worked out very well. But once Rev UI and Hit had to, join together at the same timings of their buffs, one Zenkai, one Plat, you had to run Rev UI. It was just a necessity factor. And Namek Goku is the same exact thing for that right now. It's not saying 13's bad. 13 still works with CMZ and MZ. 13 still works with Super Gogeta and UI, and Namek Goku and 13 and Super Gogeta, or UE4, and 13 has a billion teams. But the better off teams would be the teams that give you more safety, because how much victimization UI can create to so many characters in this game. Look at the list. There is 2 reds that are in the top tiers, right? UI, for everybody else, can just one blast card, they switch, pop them. So what happens? You have to run someone that's going to give you full team safety at that point, so you don't get that victimization on you. That's where 13 would get less value, because he's not going to stop that. But guess who is? Mr. KO Guard, who's going to be higher in this list than 13, because 13's not going to solve all your issues. Namek Goku, he might not solve everything, but he's going to deter you from dying 3 counts into the match because you made one mistake. If you don't have Namek Goku, you're essentially just playing a very dangerous game, more risky game than the other person that does have Namek Goku. So 13 would lose value within that because he's less priority, less necessity. Even if Namek Goku's on less teams, that team he is on, I think he's still on a few teams, but still, that team he is on, or teams he's on, is more prioritized of the top tier meta of where you're trying to defeat. With 13, Super Gogeta, and Ultra UI, just think of it like this. UI auto dodges. He's immune to key reduction, right? That's just a fact. He literally is immune to key reduction. FSG, at 50% proc, removes your key by 100. So if you're immune to key reduction, you auto dodged, and then you caught them in a combo. You have no Namek Goku. You can't swap, because then you're going to die to the ultimate, and then you auto dodge, you 50% proc, nothing happened, your key's not gone. You even pop main ability if you had the timing for it. Get key back, pop the green card, pop another blast card, charge step, get more cards. You would lose your FSG. You would lose that character right there on the spot. There's no situation to counter that. And that's one catch that would guarantee that happening. There's nothing you can do about that. Sounds pretty bad, right? Well, if you had Namek Goku instead of 13 there, you don't guarantee lose the unit, and you waste their lock-in thing. So that's kind of where it goes for me with 13. Still very good, still amazing. Probably going to age better than Namek Goku, but hey, for now, I think Namek Goku is going to be better, which is why I'm talking about Namek Goku, because they are I've said it a billion times. They do very similar roles, 13 Namek Goku. One's just more offense-based and one's more supportive-based. It's just what it is. So then we move on into number 5 with it being Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. Now, a lot of people have been gassing this guy to oblivion, and I think it's, validated, obviously. Right now, some of the best teams in the game, one of, if not the best, I would say is Double Yellow. And, here's UV4. Oh my god, I can just make everything into a short stack and just murder it. The thing with that is, well, it's accurate, of course. This is where he's always faltered UV4. It's always been weird for the guy. People are saying around UV4, SG, Ultra UI. Well, then the Ultra abilities get funky, right? Maybe he'll double Zenka buff your Ultra UI, fuck over his Ultra abilities. Then he just gets subpar, even though Ultra UI definitely is probably just better bursting than, well, better overall damage. I think Vegeta better burst because he has infinite cards sometimes. But better overall damage per card than UV4. So kind of making Ultra UI worse would be a little bit weird. I wouldn't recommend that. UV4 13 Super Gogeta. Again, it goes back to that same notion I had earlier where you're just going to be in a 2v3 because inevitably they're going to catch you, they're going to pop you, and then boom, 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 2v3 time. And maybe if you want to say UV4 Namek and I think it was Ultra UI I've seen. Yeah, that team does kind of fulfill the roles you need, but then the issue with that team is you're victimized by red units. The same thing as UI Namek, Super Gogeta, you victimized by UV4. This team could also be victimized by Red MZ, UV4, whatever. So, and even then, I think the Ultra abilities still get funky because at that point you're not leader slotting Ultra UI, you're leader slotting UV4, you're double Zenka buffing both yellows, and that's what you're doing. I just think his teams are not idealistic, and I think that hurts him a little bit more. I don't think he's full on necessity as well. Even if he has a very similar vibe of team to Namek Goku, to Super Gogeta, whatever, and is one of the better options to deal with Ultra UI right now, and is the best solo option to deal with Ultra UI right now, I think the necessity for him is more so like he has to be very high stars. Most people don't have. I mean, I have him 14 stars. If I'm not double Zenka buffing UV4, I feel like I don't see that crazy potential that is always talked about, right? Which, how can I double Zenka buff UV4 when I'm running yellow, yellow, red? When I'm running Super Gogeta, Ultra UI, UV4, I gotta think about the others. I mean, they're gonna miss Ultra abilities. Ultra UI, Super Vegeta's gonna want Dragon Fist on the bench. Like, I feel like that potency within UV4 is a little bit overgassed, and it's funny because I think he still is very good, but I don't think he just solos everything so easily as like the top tier, top dog red. He obviously isn't for me here because Red MZ is still down there. He still could be placed, and he will be placed. But I obviously acknowledge he does very well against UI. Do I think he's the omnipotent stopper to it? No, I don't think there is one. Even against Double Yellow, I still think Namek Goku lock-in into Super Gogeta green card. Okay, here's how you deal with UV4. You're locked in, you save the green card for when the lock-in ends, you green card, then you spam blast card Super Gogeta, and boom, you kill him. Or, ally dead. Ultra UI goes neutral now. Okay, you have the uncancelable, or rather he goes uncancelable neutral on his ultimate. Again, uncancelable. You pop that, pop UV4's first life, or already popped his first life, whatever, and then boom, you can just pop him freely there. I don't think it's that much of a struggle. Again, that double yellow setup that I referred to with Ultra UI Namek, even then, like I'm saying with the team of UI, Namek, and Super Gogeta, whether it be UV4 or Super Gogeta, it still is a food to a red unit, whether it be Red MZ, whether it be UV4 himself. So those teams kind of get a little bit more hazy. I just think it's more safe with Super Gogeta because obviously you had that off color of the green instead of a red. It's more safety than not, right? Within, if let's say, anything appears. So, UV4, I don't feel is a necessity. I don't think you need him to win. I think you need all these units above him to win better off. Maybe I'm biased. Maybe I'm silly. I think my reasonings are a bit iffy, honestly, with this. I don't think I can even put him higher. I think maybe I'm just explaining a little subpar. Apologize for that. But, nonetheless, I would keep him number 5. Even if I can't explain it perfectly, I would still keep him number 5. I just think these other 4 are just more necessity, if anything else. With it being number 4 of Mr. Namek Goku. Like I said, this guy's value has gone up significantly because of the simple math of you need a safety. If you don't have this guy on your team, you can get victimized by Ultra UI. There's 2 reds here. 3 reds. 3 reds. Even though you're not going to run to a Namek Goku, the red one, there's 3 reds here, right? 2 dominant top tier reds. MZ, UV4. So, unless you have those 2 out, UI is going to make you a victim. Namek Goku can make you a victim within UI because that pressure of UI is so dominant. I just feel the necessity for us. And frankly, when I'm running into the most team-wise, and maybe this is just my experience, just biases, which every tier list has some biases, of course, would be Namek Goku, Super Gogeta, Ultra UI, or Super Gogeta, MZ, CMZ, and every single time it's so easy to just pop somebody real quick. Usually it is Super Gogeta, whether it be because of the easy proc or whatever it is, it just always feels like it's Super Gogeta. So not having that safety of Namek Goku just feels like a terrible thing to do to yourself. I mean, not even just safety, right? This solid damage. He's going to be double Zenkai buffs when you run him, because you're going to run him with Ultra UI most likely. So he's double Zenkai buffs, so he does alright damage, pretty good damage even. He has the faint chance, which feels like it's a 100% chance when it's against you. AoE green card, he has support when he gets his, I think, gauge proc, or gets his gauge, whatever it is. His gauge situation happens there. He gets support for his team. Team heal for his team on that gauge as well. Clearly KO guard, obviously, as well as just not even a terrible element. Clearly, yes, UE4, CMs, or MZ can do their job against him, but he does go defense neutral for a significant amount of time on his entries, so, I mean, you can kind of deter that. Even then, he can also go overall neutral after a couple gauges, which could hurt MZ. He has endurance null within that offense neutral as well. So you can kind of, meander a few ways around it. I'm not saying matchups against the Reds are that easy for that team, but it's not as impossible. Maybe it seems on paper of here's double yellow, here's a godly red, good luck, have fun. It's not that impossible, especially when you can usually, within those red teams, you're usually not fighting another Namek Goku, so that somebody else on that team, whether it be Super Gogeta, whether it be whoever, would get sniped out, and then boom, they're in a 2v3 because they got sniped frame 0 because XYZ situation within Ultra UI. Again, the game revolves around Ultra UI, so Namek Goku here is giving you that safety against Ultra UI, and you need that. If you don't have that for your Super Gogeta or whoever, primarily Super Gogeta, because usually everyone here, here's safety of UB4 endurance. CMZ has kind of his gauge deterrence, but it's not full safety. Janemba has endurance. 13 has revival. Super Gogeta is the primary force focus here within UI. So you keep that high tier, you keep that where it is, and Namek Goku gains more value within that for me. Then we move on to number 3, with it being Mr. Super Gogeta. I think his value still is very high, very impeccable. It actually goes up for me because of that partnership he does have within Ultra UI. I think that's obviously his best partner, intended best partner, whatever it is, even though it's a leader slot merchant thing going on there. Very good partnership that exists within the two, where both are crazy burst damages within their peak forms. Obviously, I'm not referring to pre-synchro, but it's not terrible damage within the pre. It's just within, obviously, synchro Super Gogeta, everyone talks about. That's where the damage comes in. That's where it gets top tier. Then Ultra UI doing a maybe similar burst after some ramp up to Super Gogeta. And that dealership, again, here is the lock-in situation pressure that UI can apply. Your Super Gogeta, who fused because you got your ass beat for 5 counts, and now you're fused within 10 counts. Green card because the gauge is filled. Up their sub counts, and then boom, 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 you just start killing everything. I mean, UE4, not to, harp on him, but he's not defensive. So if I, maybe do 3 cards on Super Gogeta, I caught him out of bad timing. Boop, boop, boop. I've had Red MZ get 3-carded. If I could 3-card a Red MZ, I can 3-card a UB4, right? That's not too crazy. That's not faded, I don't think, especially because the endurance, I don't have to do anything extra. So that coexists there. He just has a lineup that I think works for him more ideal. I don't think he really had that before this. I think he still had very good lineups, but they weren't ideal within 13 and himself and whoever third at that point. I think there was just a lot of swappable spots. I think within number 3 here, number 4, and then number 1, it'll be a more solidified team. It is a more solidified team. It's a more dominant team than anything else, so that's where I would keep it. And then the top 2, just to put it out there real quickly, would it be Mr. Ultra UI and Red MZ, and the number 2 would be Red MZ, and number 1 would be Ultra UI. Let me explain Red MZ. He has nothing. 13 went down, so Red MZ doesn't really hurt. I guess it helps Red MZ, but even then, you run Red MZ with 13. Regardless, 13 going down within his own value of being necessity to run on multiple teams does help Red MZ, but not even just that. Red MZ is just such a good damage. I mean, who's checking Red MZ? Look at the list. Who's checking the guy? Super Gogeta could definitely do a lot of damage to him, but it's not like Red MZ can't do it back. They both basically 3 to 4 card one another at this point. So it's just a matter of a 50-50. UI, he could help deal with pretty well within the health store debuffs, helps a lot. The blue card, the paralyzed, could get some gimmicks on him as well. Doing the ultimate just to pop it and get that, situation where you get them a little bit low, then snipe them later within some other bullshit. I think Red MZ is one of the better options to deal with the team of 1-3-4, because I do think 1-3-4 is the best team in the game. Because here's Namek Goku. Okay, we get 2-card that motherfucker. You know, he's not defense neutral, just 2-card him. He is defense neutral, okay, 3-card him. It doesn't make a difference, right? Pops KO guard mad quickly. He would obviously live Ultra UI's disadvantage ultimate very, very early game, so you can make that be forced out within him. The issue with Red MZ does become the same thing as kind of UE4 to a lesser degree, though. The teams, you know, what are you going to run? You're probably still going to run. Honestly, I'd change it. You probably run Janemba instead of CMZ with 13 and MZ. I've had pretty good situations for that, especially with my ambulance friend here as they appear. I've had pretty good situations with that, though. Janemba doing pretty good burst potential. He's not going to die to Ultra UI as well. No one there dies Ultra UI snipe, so you can kind of run, again, an anti-UI setup with that time. And that team there, given the issue would be they're all dash 4 blue cards for most part, besides Red MZ. But, again, you kind of can, you know, work your way around it. There's no perfect thing to stop UI. Again, that's why he is the best. There's no perfect answer. While UV4 is a great one, the issue would be that his teams are susceptible to getting killed. But Red MZ is a great one. He has good teams that wouldn't die that quick. UI could still just have a unit on his team, or himself, if he has an ally dead, that can just OHKO him, or 2 to 3 card him, because overall, cannot be canceled. Neutral within UI's ult when ally dead. How does one stop MZ from dying there? I mean, it's UI Goku. He's hitting hard. So I think it's number 2 there as a very good ante to the best team. And then number 1 would be Mr. Ultra UI Goku. This guy is fucking insane. Yeah, no. He's getting that hit. He's getting that hit treatment. I mean, hit was what, top 2, 3 within his first release of his plat, and again he went down a billion miles afterwards. You know, I think he was barely top 10, barely out of it, whatever. But he was not high up. Ultra Wide's in that same vein of that first week situation for himself. We'll see what happens to him, but he does his crazy damage. Again, you have to play around him. Super Gogeta run without Namek Goku is probably like 7, to be honest with you. Like, I would not have Super Vegeta anywhere near here without Namek Goku. So you have to run Namek Goku with Super Vegeta, because UI could just proc. I already told you the 50% proc. You can ignore it. You could pop mains. You could do whatever. You literally can't circumvent ways to not deal with that 50% proc with Super Gogeta, and you can snipe him. If you run Super Gogeta right now without Namek Goku, guess what? You're dead. You probably just lose at that point, because he's going to die within 5-10 counts. Here we are, and that's all because Ultra UI creating that situation. No one else creates that. No one else can do that snipe potency like that. You know, maybe CMZ when there is no defense neutral, and it's kind of niche timing, and you really have to play for it, though. Ultra UI does it for free every single fucking game. So that force focus of Ultra UI and force focus to deal with things that he can do, you have to play around, I feel like, 24/7 more than not, right? So UI's crazy damage, UI's crazy lock-in ability. The pressure he creates within auto-dodging, obviously just generally, and within combos, within big moves of strikes, blues, and greens that he can auto-dodge as well. There's just so much going on. The stat inflation he has, obviously you see Red MZ here. They're both stat inflation monsters, these two together. Nothing's really stopping them from being that. They just are that duo ship. Even if they don't want to work together, they still are that duo ship within that regard there. So expect it for plats at this point. I mean, Jesus Christ. Even if they're not going to be their kit fixed, like Red MZ's kit still has flaws. It's just his inflation's so high, it doesn't really matter sometimes. UI still has flaws. His kit got more fixed than Red MZ, but the inflation's what's making them the top tier gods. Because everyone has similar numbers, right? Defensively on the 3 through 10. But 2 and 1, UI is pretty fucking bulky. We've never seen a bulky UI Goku. Well, here's a bulky UI Goku in the game right now. So good luck dealing with him. But that's my top 10 list, with it being Ultra UI number 1, Red MZ number 2, Super Gogeta number 3, Yellow Namek Goku number 4, Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta number 5, Android 13 at number 6, CMZ number 7, Janemba number 8, Ultra Full Power Frieza number 9, and then at 10A, 10B would be Ultra Red Super Saiyan Goku and Blue MUI Goku. See you in the next one.